So Donald Trump erratically abandoned the NATO summit early yesterday and flew back to the United States after being ridiculed on camera by a number of world leaders. We already talked about that yesterday. I told you several world leaders were caught on camera making fun of the American president, Donald Trump. It was Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the French President Emmanuel Macron, and Trumpian British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Quick reminder of that video. So again, the literal laughingstock among world leaders. It's not surprising. It's not new if you've been paying attention. So we knew the reaction would be furious from Trump. And indeed, he was furious, throwing a tantrum, then calling Justin Trudeau two-faced, which we'll talk about shortly, and then cutting short his entire trip to the NATO summit and flying back to the United States. Trump was scheduled yesterday to do a press conference at 3:30 in the afternoon local time, canceled it, and came back to the United States. When you elect a clown, you get a circus. Trump, of course, tweeting as if everything is totally fine, claiming another major victory in the world of bigly winning, tweeting just finished meetings with Turkey and Germany, heading to a meeting now with those countries that have met their 2% goals, followed by meetings with Denmark and Italy. When today's meetings are over, I will be heading back to Washington. We won't be doing a press conference at the close of NATO because we did so many over the past 2 days. Safe travels to all. Of course, why would you even, this is like when he said he got on the phone with Sunderland and demanded absolutely no quid pro quo. It's like, why are we even talking about a quid pro quo? It's like if I call someone and say, I really need you to pick up my wife, but definitely don't kill her, okay? I'm telling you, do not kill her. Why are we even talking about that? Much the same way, why is Trump even talking about the fact that he's not doing a press conference? He clearly is very triggered over, listen, in the end, wasn't it just locker room talk of sorts that those world leaders were engaging in? I am just so sick of being a constant embarrassment around the world by having this man in the White House, because the office of the presidency has never been more devalued. The trade war is a joke. Trump's positions on NATO are a joke. It's all a joke. And yet, I dare say, 60 million, 62 million, at least 55 million people are going to vote for this for another 4 years of this in just 11 months. That's the scariest part of all of it. And consider how fragile the president is. I listened to a really interesting interview yesterday. Hillary Clinton appeared on the Howard Stern show yesterday. Might sound like a weird conversation. It was absolutely fantastic. I would encourage you to try to find it. If you're a SiriusXM subscriber, I think you can just see it, find it on demand on the app. But otherwise, maybe it's floating around. And she very astutely talked about how she had to sort of measure her reactions. One example that was given was, don't know if you remember the debates back in 2016 between Trump and Hillary, but there would be moments where Trump would start sort of stalking in the background and kind of standing close to Hillary Clinton, and she didn't react to it. And in the conversation with Howard Stern yesterday, she actually said, I knew if I turned around and said, hey, back off or whatever, the headlines would be, she's unhinged, she's going crazy, she can't handle Trump, how will she be able to handle Putin or whatever? Consider the fragility and triggerability of Donald Trump. He mocks women, people with disabilities, foreign leaders, members of the military, including for the fact that they were held as prisoners of war, political opponents. He comes up with nicknames for everybody. And then just because someone was critical of him, he leaves the NATO summit early, calls Justin Trudeau two-faced, and then crafts a narrative that really he won everything and he's taking his 747 and flying home. Did Barack Obama ever do this? Policy differences aside, can anyone imagine Hillary Clinton ever behaving in this way? It's pathetic to a huge degree, but we've become desensitized. I said it yesterday, I think, or the day before. As much as I try not to allow this to happen, I recognize that a lot of this insanity has become normalized because it's been going on for 3 years at this point, or however long it's been. Almost 3 years? Yes, almost 3 years. We need to make sure not only that we don't let the normalization sort of creep in, as it has even for me, but we also are going to have to work really, really hard once this nightmare is over, once the mango menace is gone, to get back to the type of political discourse, which wasn't any beauty, by the way. It had already been degraded significantly, but to get back to the political discourse that existed before Donald Trump. And then ideally we could go back even further, although that will be a much more uphill battle to climb. Let's now talk about Trump self-congratulating on a hot mic. The next video is coming soon, but before you go to that, please hit subscribe and like. We're running a test. We believe that if everybody does this, this will hugely boost us in YouTube's algorithm, and then everybody wins. I'll report back to you how this works. Make sure before you go on to that next video, hit subscribe, hit like. Thank you so much.